Evening, everybody. Welcome to Monday, the 25th of September's live. Hope you're all very well. Had a nice weekend and not feeling too stressed for the new week. So today we've had coffee and card. I run a fortnightly coffee and card group in Sittingbourne, near me in Kent, and it's been a lovely day. We've also had card class today, so I'm a bit card makinged out, but I'm here with you anyway. I should have had a governor's meeting tonight, but it was cancelled last minute, so I'm glad that I can be with you all. Do let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Stacey. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. I celebrate my 10th anniversary next month, and I try to come live with you all a couple of times a week. So do make sure you subscribe to my channel and you'll get notifications for future tutorials and demonstrations as well. If you are new, do say hello as well. So let's have a little craft tonight, a little play. I've got one card that I made, well, both cards actually I made earlier. So for those ladies who are at coffee and card, you might want to switch over, or you might want to share anything from today, really. So let's skip over to my desk. I've just filmed a video for tomorrow, so I've not got a fresh sheet of grid paper. I'd love to say I have, but I haven't. So it's a little bit mucky already, but we're going to make it a bit muckier, which is fine. So let's switch over to my desk and we will do a little bit of crafting. I've got a nice hot cup of coffee, and do you know what? I need it. It's quite chilly out here tonight. I've actually had the little heater on, and it was 20 degrees today, so not looking forward to the cold weather, not going to lie. Hopefully it's quite far away, but I doubt so. So let's skip over to my desk. Here we are. So here is my mucky piece of grid paper ready for tomorrow's last card in September's Spotlight stamping tutorial. So if you're intrigued about what this mess means, tune in tomorrow at 12 o'clock and you will find out. So today we played with a little bit of Christmas classics and a little bit of Joy of Noel, or Joy of Noel, whatever you want to say. Joy of Noel and Christmas classics. This is from my favourite suite in the new mini catalogue. Absolutely love this suite. And it's got 2 stamp sets in it, 2 sets of dies, papers, ribbon, embellishments, the whole kit and caboodle. So it's a fabulous suite. If you haven't seen it, have a look in your catalogue. If you don't have a catalogue, let me know and I will pop you one in the post. So these are the 2 products we were playing with. And actually, the highlight of the day is this die. This little label die. And it comes from, I think it's in the Christmas Classics set. And it is perfect for this season's greetings stamp, which fits perfectly, if I turn it around the right way, fits perfectly in that little banner space. Absolutely love that. And this is the card that I created for Coffee and Card. If you follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this earlier. I shared it a little bit earlier, and it is a very, very simple card, but sometimes simple just works. And I've not thrown the kitchen sink at it. It's quite literally a folded piece of card. I've added a piece of white in the back in the centre for a little bit of strength. We've got a little bit of stamping straight onto the card base. And then I've got this die cut label and a bit of ribbon. So there really isn't a great deal to this card, but I love the main feature is that die. You'll notice that, I'm going to just bring this up a bit. Try and, I can't for some reason focus on that. I have actually watercoloured onto this banner. I've used watercolour paper, and I'm going to share that little technique with you. There's quite a lot of detail in there actually. Hang on, let me see if I can get this to focus. Hang on. Let me see if I can get this to work. Here we go. So if I bring this up, there we go, it's focused now. There's quite a lot of detail on that banner, and it's just with watercolour and water and ink. So I'm going to share with you how I made that. And in true me fashion, I forgot the Noel stamp set this morning for coffee and carbs. So we improvised, and I'll tell you what, my ladies made some absolute stunning designs. They were very creative, and I loved seeing it all come together. So we're going to start with some watercolour paper, and actually I am using up the remnants of what sadly has just retired, which is the shimmer cardstock, and I'm going to cut me one of these banners just from that card to get us started. And I'm kind of going to work backwards. I'm going to backwards tonight. I'm going to make the main feature of the card, and then I'm going to make the card base. Because let's not lie, this is the bit you want to see. Hi Sophie, hi Louise, and Debbie. Oh, she's found me. That's good. Okay. So here is my little die, and it's super pretty. Cuts really nicely. And we are going to use a little bit of water and a little bit of ink. So you want to grab yourself some water. Where's my little water pot? My water pot. My water pot's got my glue in it, which is always a good place to start. So this is my little water pot, and I'm going to use these water pens. Now these water pens are great. You can actually fill the tank with water, but I find I have to squeeze quite firmly, and I'm a bit lazy. So I prefer the good old traditional water in a jar technique, which we've all got jars at home. These are just from the little jam pots that you get in when you go for like afternoon tea and things. So I am going to add my, let's get the ink. Let's start with the ink first. So here I have Old Olive and I have Garden Green. I'm going to use both of them. I'm going to give them a little squeeze. By squeezing your ink pads, what you do is you transfer the ink from the pad onto the lid. So you effectively have your own little paint tray. Give it a little squeeze. I've got Old Olive and Garden Green. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dampen just the top of my banner, okay? And then I'm going to add some water in here. It makes a lovely little pattern. And you want to just carefully add your colour to it, okay? Once you've done that, you're going to take your heat tool, and this is where the magic happens. Oh, hi Claire, watching on Fine. Evening, my lovely. Claire is a very good friend of mine, and she lives just up the road. I usually toddle off to hers in my slippers. I'm going to heat this, and the heat is what really makes this technique come to life, okay? And you're going to build up the colour in stages. So you're not going to get the finished product straight away. Hi Carol. I hope you're all right, lovely. Keeping nice and well. Turn the heat tool off. So you're starting to get a little bit of definition. See, I love this little bit down here. And then you're going to repeat again. So you're going to add a bit more water. And you're going to take a different colour this time. So this is Old Olive. Take a different colour. Just dab it on. And do the same. So we're going to do this about 3 or 4 times. So I hope you've got a nice cup of tea or coffee or a little pack of Vickies to keep you going. And what this does is, because you're using a different colour, it all blends into one another. and you get a really nice pattern in the water. Let me lift that up. So you can start to see the pattern sort of coming along and the different tones in there. I'm going to do that one more time, and I'm going to go back in with this. Oh, I forgot to add my water. Add my water. And then add a bit more of this darker colour. Okay. And then we go again. And you can actually move the water around with your heat tool just by the way you angle it. Evening, Caroline. It's a busy one this evening, girls. I've lost my focus. There's my focus. Now, if you were to leave this to dry between each different set of ink, it would take you hours. So there we have. There's my finished pattern that side. So now we're going to turn it around and we're going to do it again this side. Okay. And you'll never get the same result. It will always look different. But do you know what? That's the beauty of watercolour, I think. Let's just dab that on. Evening, Margaret. Now, I'm hoping to wrap this up by 9 tonight because there's quite a good programme starting I want to watch. That's one of my ladies reminded me of today. So that's my first coat. This also looks really nice if you're using a couple of different colours. It looks nice in sort of different oranges and yellows. That's it. Probably should have bought a little bit of kitchen paper out. I promise you it's worth the wait. Hi Grace from New Zealand. Welcome this evening, or this morning probably where you are. And then one more. A little covering. There we go. So I'm just moving the water around with my heat tool. There we go. So that is my finished watercoloured banner. So if I put that on there, you get the sort of finished look. Let me know what you think. Oh, what I've also managed to achieve with this is some little dots, which is fine. It just adds to the sort of texture. Make sure you close your stamps, because I would probably put my hand in it. My grid paper's all a bit wibbly now, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I want to stamp my sentiment, which is Season's Greetings. And that's from this stamp set, Christmas Classics. Here it is. You can see which stamps we used today, which ones were popular. So just pop that on your block. What I like to do, because it's quite a long one and it can change shape as such, I'm just going to pop it down and pick it up with my block. Okay. Ink this up. And then stamp that straight on, like so. And there we have our little banner all done. So that's the main star of our show. And I'm going to keep my ink pad out. I'm just going to get rid of this grid paper because it needs to be put under something to keep it straight. Let's put this little one in. So now we're going to cut my card base, and that is from Real Red card. So I have just a couple of sheets left. Now we went with square cards today, which was quite a change for me. I'm usually a standard sort of C6 card. So I'm going to trim this down. It's going to be 14 centimetres wide. And then I'm going to score at 14 centimetres. And then cut at 28, and that gives me my nice little card base. Give that a nice little, excuse me, my arm, crease. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on the background the Noel. And so this is Real Red card, and this is the magic of Stampin' Up products and what I love most about them. I'm going to stamp with Real Red as well. So I'm using the same colour, and you'd think that it would disappear, but you get a really nice sort of tonal effect. It's tonal, not toenail. And I'm going to stamp Noel just across. I'm going to try and get it straight. I said try. Give that a nice little pink. And then I'm going to move it down ever so slightly. And I'm going to just move it along so you just get, it just moves along slightly. And just repeat the same. Noel, 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 and then this side. Okay. So there is my background stamping, which we couldn't do earlier because I left the stamp at home. This is our banner, and then I've added this really lovely ribbon. This is large check ribbon, and it's actually black and vanilla, but it looks really, really nice with this watercolour paper. I'm going to just trim this down ever so slightly. I'm going to turn my banner over, and I'm going to attach the ribbon to the back of that banner. Okay, oh, Claire likes that effect. Thank you very much. So I'm going to just stick that to the back of my banner with a little bit of double-sided. Okay, and then I'm going to stick this whole greeting onto my card. And I'm going to stick that down with some little pads so it gets a little bit of height. We like a bit of height, not too much, just a little bit. I can't pick it up. There we go. And then I'm going to put that down straight. Like so. Now this ribbon is a bit too long, so just trim this down a bit. Okay, so there we have that. Now my Noel is actually a little bit wonky, but I hope you'll forgive me. And then I have here, these are really old. I found them in my Christmas box. Wonderful gems these are. These are donkey's years old, but they're quite a nice little sparkle. And sometimes you just have to go with what you've got in your box, don't you? So I'm just going to add 3 of these little gems about there. And that just gives the card a little bit of sparkle. Now that feels quite flimsy at the moment, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to stick myself a little piece in there, which I need to cut, I think, because I don't think I have a piece I did earlier. No, I don't. So I'm going to use white card now, and I'm going to cut that down just ever so slightly so it's smaller than the card front. So I'm going to cut it at 12. So the card front is 14. So just making it a little bit smaller, so 12. Okay. And then this is my piece for inside the card. And this is one of those cards that would actually look nice the other way around. So you could do green in the background. And there we have card number 1, all finished. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you want to make it at home? Or is it just not your bag? So there is that one. Okay, so I also made something a little bit different. We made this one. So this card seemed to take the ladies no time at all today. I clearly didn't make it tricky enough. So I also put this one together. Now, I'm not going to make this with you on screen. I've got something else to share with you. But this is basically using the same technique that we did for the watercolouring of this section here. It's using the same technique to create the background. So if I just bring that closer, you can see I've got the mix of the 2 greens in the background, and I have kept the banner plain. So you can just make out the detail in that holly there. But that was card number 2. And then card number 3, I'm going to create a little watercolour background. I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I've got a little bit of watercolour paper. I'm going to bring my crazy grid paper back in, which has calmed down a bit now. And I'm going to do a little bit of a similar pattern in the background. So first of all, we're going to go in with some water, and I want to make most of this sort of our green colour. Okay, and then I'm going to use some of this ink that was in here, and I'm just going to dab it on. And then I'm going to dry it. The thing that works really well with this, is the little tweezers to just hold it flat. And then we're going to go again, a bit more water, and I'm going to put it in where the sort of drier parts are. And this is just making it look sort of different shades of green. Hold it down. The wire's getting in the way tonight. You can imagine we've got very messy today. It was lots of fun. And all I'm doing is I'm just moving the water with the heat tool, and it creates these different sort of trails in the background, which is really effective. Taking a while, this one. I'm going to leave that with 2 colours. I need to give my ink pads a bit of a clean after this. And I want to create these leaves. So here are some that I made earlier. So I've got quite a few, but I'm just going to die cut some more from this piece of card we've just done. So just bear with me for a moment. I reckon I can get 4 or 5 out of this. And then that little centerpiece just pops out. Okay, how are we doing? Are we all still there? Where's my scissors? They're here. Quite satisfying taking those pieces out of there, actually. So I did some of these last night. This is where the vision for the coffee and card class card came from, and it just moved on. Okay, so getting there. I'm going to do. I've got room for 2 more on my piece, I think. And one last one. I can just squeeze in that little gap. Right, so you end up with a piece of looking like that, which can go in the bin. And then you have all of these lovely die cut holly leaves. I'm just going to take all the middles out. And they all look really, really different. And there isn't actually a stamp that goes with this image. So it's quite nice to still be able to use the die. So I'm just going to move my crazy bit of grid paper out of the way. And I've got one more piece of red card. So let's make this a little 5 card set, shall we? Like we're playing poker. 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3. So let's go down to 14. Try that. And then I'm going to turn to 14 and cut. No, sorry, score. Dear. And then take this along and cut it out. So I've got my nice card base. Now I want a piece of white card. There's the piece I cut earlier, I think. Yes, lovely. So this is 12. We're going to stick to the same measurement. 12 by 12. And then what I want is a circle. Great idea for leaves. It's nice, isn't it? So here I've got this one here, which fits nicely on our card. Although these leaves are quite big. So I'm basically going to create a wreath. I'm just practicing laying them on. I think I can afford to go a little bit bigger. What do you reckon? I think we can. let's go one step bigger, which is this one, I think. Love these circle dies. For those of you that have not seen these before, if you watch my video from the last Monday, I used these on a card. They're called the deckled circle dice. Now, what I'm not sure of here is I think I am going to do that in the background. So let's just cut one of these out. Turn this down a bit. Pop that up here, cut it out. So I'm going to put this on. Like so. I'm going to stick this down. Stick this down with a bit of glue. So, and then I'm going to put this on with some pads. Which are, where are my pads? I do this every single video, don't I? I'm amazed this is only the first time I've said it. Here they are. Right behind me. Just going to put a few little pads here. Because I want these leaves to be quite prominent on the card. So we're going to raise this. So let's pop that on there. Before I do anything else, I'm going to draw myself a little line around the edge of this white, because I think it just needs a little bit between the white and the red. I remember my mum saying something when I was growing up about red and white. Is it red and white should stay out of sight or something like that? So now we've done that, I can put my nice leaves on. I'm going to put them on with, where's glue? Here's glue. So each leaf, I'm going to sort of curl it a bit. And I want my glue to be just on this inner section. So here. I'm not putting a massive amount of glue on, just sort of 3 little dots. Hold it in place. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way round. With a little bit of patience. Just put that on the wrong side. Silly me. Let's flip scrap. It won't be the first time I do that. This really is my favourite set from the mini. That's it. And just keep going. And this is where I want to say, and here's one I made earlier, but I didn't do that. I love making a wreath at Christmas. And every leaf is different, which is what I love. If you'd have just cut this out of card, you wouldn't have the same effect. It would look quite flat. Remember to pull out all the little stubborn pieces that are still there. That's it. This one here is quite a nice, and I've chosen my favourite ones actually, the ones that have got the best sort of patterns on them. You could do this with any leaf or any image that you've got in your stash. Let's have, this one's quite nice. And actually, surprisingly, that fits really nicely. Perfect. So there we have a wreath made out of holly leaves that we have watercoloured. I really love that finished look. So now we need to add our sentiment. And I really like this banner across the middle. So let's cut that. And I'm going to cut that out of crumb cake. Let's go for a completely different colour, shall we? Don't ask me why I said crumb cake. So, let's trim a little bit of this off. Got a lovely pile of card piling up next to me that I need to tidy up tomorrow. So you must be thinking, might be thinking, what's she doing? We don't want all those extra bits. I'm going to cut that off. I just want the banner without all this fuss. Okay. So let's line this up in my trimmer. I'm going to get rid of it. Now there's nothing there to hold on to that. I'm just going to get a little bit of washi and hold it in place. So line it up where you want it to be. Put your washi on the bit that you want to cut off and then trim it down. And it's almost like it was never there. Just trimming off a little excess. How nice is that? And then we repeat the next side. Got a little custom banner that is the right shape for what we need. Just trim off any sort of excess. You almost want a little file to file it down. There we go. So then now we have a nice banner across the middle. Now we've got the heat tool out, so let's do a little bit of heat embossing, shall we? A little sip of my coffee. So heat embossing is my other favourite thing to do, especially at Christmas. And it seems to be the only time I ever use gold and silver. So heat embossing, we're going to get a sort of metallic look to it now. So first I'm just going to take the static off my card with my little buddy, embossing buddy, and then I'm going to stamp my greeting with this Versamark pad. It's almost fluorescent, that stain on that stamp now, like so. And then take our embossing powder. I'm going to hold on to this with my tweezers. Tap off any excess. Love heat embossing, it's like magic. And then I'm going to heat it. So you see it looks quite dark now. In a moment it's going to go super shining. It's just starting to change. You see that? So pretty. And it is the only time I ever seem to use gold and silver. I think I've only ever bought one pot of it because I just don't use it, which is crazy. So let me just hold that up so you can see that. Look how pretty that is. Got shakes, look. So that is our little sentiment. And we're going to bring our card back in. And I want a little bit more of that ribbon. Can't get enough of this ribbon. Turn it over. Make it so it's just a little bit longer. And trim it off. Right back on. And then I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided tape. Like so. Onto there. And then we put it on with some pads. Now I know we've already used pads, so this card is quite thick now. And there we have it. And what you could do if you wanted to is just add a few little leaves there. If you wanted to. Quite actually like that. Let's stick those in. I've got them to use, so we might as well use them. On there. And one there. And then I am going to add a few of these little gems just to bring it all together. And I'm going to put these, I think, at random. Around. So I'll add a little trio down there. And then up here. And add a little couple. And then over here we'll do a couple. I've now used up all my red gems. Turn it over. And that is the outside of card number 3. All done. I'm just going to put a little piece inside to finish it off. So let's cut this down to 12 by 12. And we're nearly there. We're nearly at 9 o'clock. So pretty good going. Open him up. Put that on. Now we've got one leaf left. And I think I'm just going to stick that in the bottom corner. Like so. And in this stamp set, this one here, could use the drops. I've just ordered them, Margaret. They're enamel something or other, I think. My mum was telling me about them. She's like, oh, these are nice. And I added them to my order. So I know exactly what you mean. And they're on their way. So I'm just going to add a little extra sentiment inside. I'm going to stamp this in. Let's do this in green, actually. And this little sentiment says, to you and yours. Let's just trim that out. I'll find my scissors. Just in there. So season's greetings on the front, to you and yours on the inside. Let me know what you think in the comments. So that's the third card all finished tonight. Let me just put these 3 cards in focus so you can see them. I absolutely love those. They would make a really lovely gift for someone. Nice little matching set of cards. There's another one that I made. So really, really nice. Great to sell at a craft fair if you're thinking of going to craft fairs this year. Or nice to just make and give to people. So those 4 cards, they've all been put together with the Joy of Noel. I was going to say Noel, and I don't know why. And the Christmas Classics stamp set. I've also used the deckled rectangle, deckled circles in this one, and a really, really lovely watercolour technique. So I'll just switch cameras back now. So there I am, still in one piece. So thank you all so much for joining me on this Monday evening. We've spent just under an hour together, which is always lovely. I am going to go indoors now, put my PJs on, finish my coffee, and there's a really good programme starting on ITV that I'm looking forward to watching tonight, that was recommended to me by one of my card class ladies. It's all about, I think, the Yorkshire Ripper, so nice fun topic for a Monday night, but nonetheless it's always interesting. So as I mentioned at the start, everything I've used is available to purchase from my online store. You can find that at staceymarsh.co.uk. Once the video is finished uploading to YouTube, I'll add in all the product details so you'll have the list there. And if you've got any comments or questions, please get in touch. I will be live again on Thursday at midday here, so do join me. No idea what I'll be making, but so watch this space. And then tomorrow at, just seen someone comment the word death, tomorrow at midday you have got a premiere of my last September Spotlight class using the textured floral stamp set. So if you followed that series, the last one is tomorrow, and then in October we start with Trucking Along. So do pop on and have a look. If you want to be notified of those tutorials and videos when they come up, just click subscribe and you'll get a little notification the next time that happens. So all that's left for me to say is have a lovely, lovely week, and I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Bye for now.